Hello, folks. My name is John Dubas. I'm a Vice President for Agent Success with Premier Marketing. I appreciate you tuning in today. We'll be discussing ways that you can actually cross-sell to sell Medicare programs during the annual election period and get compensated for a portion of that business before the beginning of the year. One of the carriers with whom we are featuring today, Aetna, offers a full portfolio of product that includes not just Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, and prescription drug plans, but also ancillary benefits that neatly dovetail in with some of the programs they've got set up in different markets that can be very helpful for as agents to not only make certain that we cover all of the needs or the majority of the needs that our prospects and clients may have, but also gives us an opportunity to be compensated for that service prior to the first of the year. So we'll spend the next 45 minutes or so going through some of the different options that are available for you with Aetna and other carriers as well to make certain that we can understand that opportunity. We're about to enter into a time period where people make a lot of choices for themselves. Sometimes the choice is to stay where they are, but many times it's to evaluate the opportunities that they have in their market, in their household, because things change. Their body changes, the prescriptions they're on changes, the providers they are accessing may change or be changed by the carrier they're with. And so we want to make certain that we do an annual assessment to make certain that we're doing the best job possible for our book of business and the people we visit with, but also to make certain that we can maintain consistency within our book and grow at the same time. Offering these additional products helps us do just that. So a bit of housekeeping. Today's presentation is being recorded. It, with additional information, will be sent to you by email, including the presentation itself and a link to the recording of the presentation. And we'll have our folks follow up with you to make certain that you understand what we're presenting today and how to access all the material that can make it very helpful for you. So we'll do a brief overview, very brief overview of Premier. We'll speak to the different Medicare opportunities that are presented for us in the categories there are with Medicare Advantage, Part D prescription drug programs, and Medicare supplements. We'll speak to the cross-selling opportunities that we have with ancillary products and the marketing programs that are available to you through the carriers and our organization to help you get in front of folks to do just what we're proposing today. A bit about Premier Marketing. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968. We're part of the Integrity Marketing Platform with offices across the country. We're an insurance wholesaler that offers insurance services to independent insurance agents through a number of different carriers, and we offer contracts at the highest possible commission levels with recruiting contracts available for those who qualify. I mentioned we were founded in 1968, so that makes this our 50th anniversary, our 50 years in business, and it's a bit of a Horatio Alger story of a small insurance agency in Nebraska growing to be one of the largest programs of its type in the country. And by that, I mean we are the largest producer for a number of different carriers in different categories. We're the largest producer for Medicare Advantage product with United Healthcare, with Anthem, with Meridian Care. We're one of the top 5 with a whole bunch of other companies that are basically too numerous to mention. Our offices, as I mentioned, as part of the platform through Integrity, are all across the country. Our home office with Premier is in Norfolk, Nebraska. I am speaking to you from the Integrity Marketing Group headquarters here in Texas in the Dallas area. Our portfolio of products is very broad, appealing generally for the senior market, a full portfolio of Medicare programs with Medicare Advantage, MedSup, and PDP programs, a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity programs, including final expense and pre-need programs, long and short-term care plans, disability income programs, and a full gambit of ancillary benefits that include demand products like dental, vision, and hearing, programs to help fill the gaps in different types of coverages with critical illness and cancer plans, and hospital indemnity programs. That Medicare Advantage portfolio includes the vast majority of the name brand carriers that are out there and a number of the regional carriers that are an influence in many markets across the country. And that includes the same sort of portfolio for prescription standalone drug plans as well. Our Medicare supplement portfolio is huge. We've rolled out a couple of exclusive offerings in the last couple of months too that give you an interesting array of programs that offer not only with different Medicare supplement plans and carriers, but with different marketing support programs based on some of that corporate support. In the Medicare market, of course, a little bit of an overview. You can't get through one of these presentations without a marketing organization like ours or a carrier saying, boy, the baby boomers are aging in. Over 10,000 people a day are turning 65. Very well and true, but one thing that doesn't take into account is that the Medicare population that we address isn't just senior citizens. About a sixth of that population are under the age of 65 and are disabled and are prospects for the programs that we offer as well. So something very important to consider. When you look at the different categories, subsets within the Medicare market, you look at the traditional Medicare administration with Medicare Parts A and B, and you have different opportunities to address shortfalls within those programs. And then you also have the Medicare Advantage and Prescription Drug plans, Parts C and D, that give other marketing opportunities, and some blend across both categories as well. Some of the key things that differentiate for us, and it's important for today's presentation because we do offer that same sort of cross-sell for both MedSup and MA plans. We spoke to the MedSup opportunity last week. Today we concentrate on the Medicare Advantage opportunity, but there are some things that we can do with Medicare supplements and marketing that we cannot do with Medicare Advantage programs. Different types of oversight, and we have different qualifications we have to meet in order to offer one type of program or another. Of course, the products themselves are very different and have different enrollment periods. We do in the Medicare supplement world have the opportunity to sell these plans year-round. The challenge is during certain time periods, they have to be medically underwritten, and so that's important for us to take into consideration. The enrollment periods we have with Medicare Advantage programs, well, that's probably why you're on the call now. We're about to go into the marketing period, the first 15 days of October, or 14 days of October, before we can actually sell these products beginning October 15th during the annual election period. There are some changes with other disenrollment periods and special election periods that we'll discuss in today's presentation very briefly as well. And obviously, all of the programs require licensing. Certification will vary from program type to program type. The opportunity itself is huge. And you have segments of the market that we can address at different times of the year, but we've got to realize that any of the programs that we offer, well, there's no one right answer for everything. And there are some folks that are best suited for traditional fee-for-service Medicare with a Medicare supplement program and a prescription drug plan. There are some folks that, well, quite frankly, Medicare Advantage is their best resource, particularly considering that the median income for a Medicare beneficiary is a little over $26,000, and many of those folks couldn't afford a premium for both a Medicare supplement and a PDP plan. So there are different things that we have to take into account there, do a bit of a diagnosis, and properly assess what choices may be best for the people we visit with. Then you have different subsets of the rest of the folks. There are people that are on retirement plans that are well suited with the coverage they have. We couldn't do anything for them. There are folks that decide not to make a decision. Those are the folks that can be a little frustrating because you have answers for them, but the decision to make a decision is a decision. So they may not even have Part D coverage and may be suffering the penalty for not picking it up when they were first eligible if you were able to assist them now. And then there are subsets of each different category that we need to address because a portion of the Medicare population is a dual beneficiary, and there are certain programs with dual special needs plans that may fit their situation and help them with their needs as well. Particularly as we enter into the annual election period, it's important to note that a whole lot of activity is going to be taking place here in the month of October through Pearl Harbor Day in December. But even after that, we have sales opportunities because of the special election periods, and some of the work that we do right now helps set us up for that sort of activity moving forward. When we look at 2019, there are some different changes that come about. The whole MADP period is going away. In 2019, there's now going to be kind of a regression back for, if you've been in this segment of the market for a period of time, to a switch period in a manner of speaking. A Medicare Advantage open enrollment period, which runs the first 3 months of the year. And this allows folks who are enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan to have a one-time opportunity through those 3 months to do a number of different things. One, if they have an MA plan, they can switch to a different MA plan. They also have the opportunity to drop their Medicare Advantage program and return to original Medicare Parts A and B administration. They also have an opportunity to enroll in a standalone Part D plan if they drop their Medicare Advantage plan and go back to original Medicare. They do have the option at that time to pick up a Medicare supplement. However, it isn't a guarantee issue period, and they would have to qualify for those med sups on an underwriting basis unless they fit certain parameters using a trial SEP to go back to a Medicare supplement they may have had in the past or had the opportunity to enroll in the past and did not do so. There is also the opportunity that a person could drop their Part D program, and this may be a suitable option for folks who have gone back to work and now have group coverage or have other means of creditable coverage to help them with their prescription drug needs moving forward. That obviously is something we need to be very mindful of, in the fact that if a person doesn't have any sort of creditable coverage, they do suffer that 1% penalty per month of the national average of premium for a Part D plan for each month they don't have creditable coverage. There's also a change in the dual LIS enrollment period, where it had been a continuous special enrollment period on a monthly basis. That is no longer the case in 2019. It'll go now to a quarterly basis in the first 9 months of the year, with the changes that are available to everyone during AEP thereafter. And that SEP is not available to those that are identified as at risk or potentially at risk for prescription drug abuse under drug management programs. That is part of the auspices of the whole oversight for opioid challenges that we have in our country. Additionally, certain types of plans are being sunsetted in different areas, and this includes cost plans in areas where at least 2 competing Medicare Advantage plans meeting specific enrollment thresholds are available. So in a large number of areas of our country, a cost plan will no longer be an option to an individual in those areas if there are Medicare Advantage plans available. For those of you who have been in the business for a while, this may remind you of the transition away from the PFFS plans that had been available as a Medicare Advantage program in the past. A similar type of mindset. These folks are distributed throughout the country. These programs will still be available in certain very rural areas. However, in a large number of states, this is going to affect a lot of people, particularly in Minnesota, where nearly 400,000 of these folks reside, with nearly 180,000 of them in the Twin Cities region. Other effective states are listed here, including my home state of Texas, with about 30,000 people being affected. That's something to be very aware of, and an opportunity that we have to serve those people, both with the carrier that may have been offering that cost plan in the past, but also with other options that they would have should it best fit their situation. It's very important for us because it gives us another opportunity to utilize the full portfolio of product that we have as an independent insurance agent to make certain that we serve those folks as well as possible. There's also some different changes coming about for the year after with the macro impact on Medicare supplement programs, and this is the legislation that's affecting programs, Medicare supplement standardized programs, C and F particularly, that current policyholders are able to maintain. Newly eligible folks are not going to be able, after January 2020, to obtain a Medicare supplement plan that covers the Part B deductible. So some different things that may be questions posed to us during this annual election period, and it's nice to have the information available for us to make certain that we're able to address those questions as they occur. Some of the things that we have in play then with the Medicare Advantage programs, well, that's part of what we want to do with the quote engine that we have available for you as a contracted agent with the Premier Marketing Organization. Access is granted at no cost to agents who have a Medicare contract with us, and it gives us an opportunity to look at a number of different quote engines. We use this a ton in the Medicare supplement world to not only offer a complimentary Medicare supplement review to prospects and clients, but it also gives us an idea in our particular markets what are the carriers that are very competitive in that area. But it also gives us an opportunity to look at Medicare Advantage programs, not on a comparison basis, but on an individual basis. It allows us to do so. And then look at some of the ancillary programs that tie in very well with both of these types of coverages for base medical coverage for Medicare beneficiaries. We spoke to this opportunity last week with Medicare supplements. Today we're going to address it with the Medicare Advantage options that we have available. So you have that opportunity, as I mentioned, to quote for Medicare supplements. We can get the additional information on Medicare Advantage and PDP plans. I'm going to show you that in just a second. Then we can also get additional information on hospital indemnity programs that can help us, particularly with the Medicare Advantage programs that have that daily copayment for a person going into the hospital. A neat way to tie this together, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. It also gives us the opportunity to do the same thing with dental programs and a tie-in with final expense. It's important to note that we need to do certain things in order to remain compliant with these options that we have. Medicare supplement programs and final expense programs do not require a scope of appointment for discussion. But in all honesty, if you're going to be out talking about Medicare supplement programs, inevitably the topic of prescription drug coverage comes up and alternatives to Medicare supplement programs that may be out of reach for certain individuals because of the premium associated with them. So having that scope of appointment is very important with all the categories agreed to as part of the discussion before the discussion speaks or begins, so we can make certain that we stay compliant. You'll notice as we go through a scope of appointment, final expense is not on that. You cannot speak to final expense and Medicare Advantage or prescription drug plans during the same appointment compliantly. You can with a Medicare Sup, not with the other two categories. So that's something to be very aware of. You can, however, speak to other health programs, so hospital indemnity, critical illness programs, dental programs can be discussed in conjunction with Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans if it's properly noted on the scope of appointment before the discussion begins. So something to be very aware of in order to remain compliant and make certain that things work for us. So let's take a peek at this quote engine. and give you an idea of how this will work in conjunction with Medicare Advantage programs that are out there, and in particular with some of the programs that are offered by Aetna that have a Part B buyback. And let's talk about that in detail right now. As I mentioned, with a contract with our organization for Medicare products, it gives you access to this quote engine without additional cost to you out of your pocket. If you have that access, then you can utilize the full gambit of product that is in that mechanism in this software. And to look at the Medicare Advantage programs, it gives us an opportunity to discover a side-by-side type of program that I think will be very helpful for you. So let's just pull up a Dallas zip code just for illustration purposes. Works the same in any zip code. It'll sort by price. In this particular instance, that's default. You can do it by rating and other things. But what this then gives you is an idea of the type of plans that are out there and what they have on an informational basis for us. So a single repository for multiple carriers with their Medicare Advantage programs. Keep in mind, these programs are showing 2018 at this time. The information on the 2019 programs are not available to the public until October 1st. Boy, and that's not that far away, is it? Less than a week. But this then will give the opportunity to show both 2018 and 2019 programs, just like Medicare.gov does. Why is that? Well, because they feed through a similar type of program. So this gives you information about star ratings, the different programs that come into play, and how those plans work. You can get additional detail on them, specifics about the programs, and if one of these programs is the programs that are being introduced that give a Part B buyback, that gives us premium dollars to use on a cross-sell situation. And when we look at some of the programs that Aetna has in the state of Texas, as an example, up here in Dallas-Fort Worth, one of the programs that they offer will give you a $104 give back on the Part B premium to the participant with a solid benefit package as well. Obviously, if they are taking some of the dollars they get from the government and giving it to the beneficiary as a benefit on buyback, it will affect some of the other medical benefits that they have. And then that gives us then the opportunity to look at what all comes into play with the need for additional benefits. Because let's think of some of the things that we have if you give the Clint Eastwood assessment of Medicare Advantage programs. What's the good, the bad, and the ugly? In many cases, the good is, well, there's no premium for the program. Or in this instance, you may actually have an opportunity for a buyback or give back of the Part B premium, where as Social Security catches up with the selection that an individual makes for a plan that offers that opportunity, it then increases their Social Security check by that buyback rate simply because the plan is covering that portion of that premium for them, part of the Part B premium. What that gives us then is premium dollars for them to spend for additional coverages. And what are those coverages that are necessary in many circumstances? Well, that's where we get into perhaps some of the bad and the ugly, and that is the ways that the program causes the individual to come out of pocket for certain services. And the programs that most quickly contribute to a person approaching their maximum out of pocket with a Medicare Advantage program are basically two categories. One, the hospital copayments that an individual has as they go through the benefits that are available to them. So if we look at this program as an example, we'll see that it has a hospital copay of $285 for days 1 through 5, with the rest of the hospital stay covered in full. So that person then may perceive a need to budget for that dollar amount that they'll have to pay if they go into the hospital, and that gives us an opportunity to discuss hospital indemnity programs. And I'll show you something specifically for that in just a moment. One of the other means that drives up an out-of-pocket expenditure deals with cancer treatment, because many times therapeutic radiology treatment is covered at 80%. So that person has 20% out of pocket that they have to cover up to the maximum out of pocket. With this program, that max out of pocket is $3,400. And that is also a known expense that a person can budget for and do so very succinctly. Well, let's show you exactly how we do that. If we look at a universal compare program and lay that out, we'll see that it appears then on the side as to what the premiums are. We then can go into the quote engine for other coverages and look at hospital indemnity. Pull up the quote for that same individual. And it tells us then that we have a hospital plan available for coverage for a hospital stay at different benefit levels. We had $285 a day for that program that we mentioned before that's displayed here. And we can look at optional benefits and add on additional coverages for them, because this one basically gives them $250 for the occurrence. So what we'd want to do is look at 5 times $285, which is slightly under $1,500. We add that in, and we're looking at additional coverage for that individual that, bear with me, gives us an opportunity to make certain that they're fully covered in that circumstance. And you can do this with not only hospital indemnity programs, but also with dental programs as well. Using that universal compare piece, then what we've shown is a total of that program. One of the things that this does for you, since this Continental Life Assurance Program of Brentwood, Tennessee is an Aetna product, if you're using their Ascend program, their electronic enrollment process, you can actually do the entire package of benefits in a single swing and not have to ask questions repeatedly, because that software allows you to bundle the product. If you are an individual who is perhaps selling a program with another carrier, United Healthcare or Cigna or WellCare or whomever, some of those carriers do offer ancillary benefits. Cigna does, but United Healthcare does not. What you can do then is then show how a hospital indemnity program with any of the HIP programs can help cover that out-of-pocket expenditure very simply and very easily. And you'll notice that these carriers all have an electronic enrollment function that makes it very simple for you to use and get issued very quickly. Generally, when you work with a hospital indemnity program, these issue within a week on the outside. And the difference that we have with the base coverage under a Medicare Advantage program is the fact that CMS dictates to the carrier that they can't compensate you for that business until after the effective date at the first of the year. Some of the carriers rush to pay you that first week, but if we're working in October, well, we're basically running with a credit for the remainder of October, November, December, and not paid until January. These programs, however, pay as issued as well, so you can expect your commission payment in a much more timely basis and have those revenues flow to you and your agency prior to the first of the year. So it's a nice way of making certain that we have a bundling of products to fully address the needs of our prospects and clients, do so in a very simple way with the quote engine or with the software available from the carrier itself. Some of these ancillary products that we need to look at, well, why would you need them? Let's be honest. There are a ton of carriers getting into this business, and you're seeing them offer additional products on an ongoing basis. New carriers are entering the market. Many folks realize the need for additional care and coverages for that care, and so you're seeing a lot of choices available to you. If you look at some of the most common illnesses that these programs cover, if we look into critical illness programs, cancer, heart attack, stroke, do you know of anybody in your acquaintance that doesn't have some exposure to someone who's had at least one of those illnesses? Confession, I have cancer, I've had a stroke, and I'm only 58. So there are different things that we see as we age that become more and more common as well, and preparing for these regardless of the coverage. Even if it's a Plan F in a Medicare supplement or a Plan G in a Medicare supplement that you're doing now, these bring additional dollars to the table for our insureds because they are fee-for-service programs that pay regardless of the other coverage that a person has in effect. It can make all the difference in the world for the comfort of that household and the financial stability of that household moving forward as well. As you look at this, medical bills are a big cause of the bankruptcies that are suffered by our population in the United States, and there are always additional expenses that come outside of the medical costs that are associated with the different illnesses that are out there. So there's a strong, solid need for the folks that we visit with on an ongoing basis, and different carriers have a lot of options for us. So these are some of the additional ancillary benefits offered by Aetna. Even though we lump Medicare supplements into this program, it is an optional benefit for people on Medicare, and it is an option outside of Medicare Advantage. They do offer final expense, critical illness programs, hospital indemnity programs, and depending upon your area, nursing home, facility care and recovery care, and home care products as well, in addition to that demand product of dental. One of the things many folks may note is the fact that many of the Medicare Advantage programs offer a dental, vision, or hearing benefit. These benefits are paid in addition to the base coverages that you have with those programs. Some Medicare Advantage programs offer a buy-up for their dental program. It is generally a fairly reasonable premium, but you don't get paid anything additional for it. And from personal experiences, many times folks that take a buy-up for those programs, pardon me, I'm trying to look at some questions as I go through as well. They can add them and drop them throughout the year, but many times that causes discontent with the base medical coverage as well, so that's something we have to be very aware of. You do have, obviously, additional carriers from Aetna, and one of the programs that offer ancillary benefits and do so with a name brand recognition as well is Guaranteed Trust Life, GTL, and they offer a number of ancillary products for you to sell as well. And what it does for you, keep in mind, it helps increase the number of clients you use, because you can use that ancillary product as the door opener. Dental programs are a great demand product, creating A selling circumstance with that product allows you to cover that need, establish an additional revenue flow for you and your agency, but it also increases the number of clients that you have that you can then adjust and pivot for other needs that they have in the household, including base medical coverages that if you approach it correctly with the scope of appointment, you could even address on the initial appointment if you have the scope before you begin to discuss the other programs. It also helps with the revenue per household, so you're being more efficient when it comes to the financial aspect of your agency, and it gives you an opportunity to even reach out to the group of folks that you already have in your book of business to drive up their persistency through additional contact and address additional sales for them by utilizing these ancillary programs. So you have it in different categories. If you work the under 65 market, many of these programs are still a very viable product for that audience as well. So some things that we would be addressing across the board with everyone you speak of. And think of it many times, if you address the Medicare market as your main thrust of taking care of folks, many times both members of the household, if there's a husband and wife, one may be on Medicare, one may not be. So we want to make certain that we give you as many selling opportunities as possible. And these are programs that you don't have to be additionally certified for. As I mentioned, you can do it compliantly to speak at the same time, and you can sell them year-round with that emphasis of, hey, you don't have to wait until January 1st to be paid either. These are some numbers given to us by Medico as to how much monies are available for you if you just sell one additional program in a category per week. So if you look at their dental vision hearing program at a $1,500 benefit level and sell one additional per week over the year, that's an additional $12,000 in income. If you look at a cancer program, that same sort of thing, one additional per week, another 12 grand in income. Adding a short-term disability, if it's available in your state, one additional program per month is an additional $9,000 in commission. And if you look at the hospital indemnity programs and work out a application per week with 44 weeks, that's an additional 10 grand in commission using their commission scale. And in all honesty, the commissions are very similar between the different programs. So bringing on an additional application in a different category can really make a huge difference on the bottom line of the programs that you offer. It also gives you an opportunity to go back and address the inevitable with the pre-planning for final expense as well. Keep in mind, on a Medicare Advantage or PDP program, you can't discuss this program during the same appointment. You'd have to go back after a cooling off period of 48 hours to go back and do it compliantly. But the Legacy Safeguard program that's available through our organization helps them pre-plan for that need. It gives them an opportunity to address those expenses beforehand, carefully planning for it, and going through this sales process actually walks you right into the sale for a final expense product. So if we look at an overall portfolio, you've got a ton of carrier choices in each of these categories. For Medicare Advantage programs, we can go to the quote engine and look at, boy, you got a ton of carriers that are out there. Which ones are key choices for you in your market? Well, that depends in many circumstances as to how many you're willing to contract and certify with, but also there are certain programs that have an advantage in a market over another based on overall benefits, network, ease of doing business, marketing support, a number of factors that can influence who you want to represent. That applies as well with Part D programs. Medicare supplements in many circumstances are a little more driven by the premium but they have some of those same other influencers as to what we have in our book of business. What kind of marketing support is out there by the carrier? What support do they have for us as agents to take care of our book of business, but also support us with support when we have questions? And do they have different tools that can help make selling easier, be they electronic enrollment devices or programs, or the different marketing support pieces that are necessary for us to spread that gospel? Hospital indemnity programs, critical illness programs, short-term care, home health care, final expense. There are a multitude of choices there as well. Dental, we have a number of carriers that can do some different things for you, including a number that will cover, well, one comes to mind right away, major services during that first year. It gives us also the additional revenue we need to make certain that we achieve the goals we set for ourselves and our families through the different categories as well. You'll see in the Medicare Advantage world that the government sets the reimbursement in many circumstances. And so that commission, that compensation will remain fairly consistent across the board. I say fairly consistent because some Medicare Advantage carriers do have feet on the street to help you market. They do offer additional marketing support in order to put you in front of folks. And so there are some advantages carrier over carrier depending upon your location and your service. Same thing applies with Part D programs. There are a number of agents that basically deny themselves the additional revenue through a Part D program and send someone just to Medicare.gov. If you follow some of the correspondence that we have for our agents, we have a program that allows you to do a lot of the enrollment for these two categories remotely with certain carriers through our Medicare Made Easy program, which allows you to collect a scope of appointment remotely and enroll people remotely as well. So a nice piece that is part of an overall follow-up package of support for you from our organization. Medicare supplement programs have a little more leeway when it comes to some of the compensation because those commission levels can vary from product to product. They can vary according to some of the requirements the carrier has when it comes to past production. Higher production may allow you a higher commission rate, but they also allow you then different marketing support that may not be available as readily for Medicare Advantage programs, and many of these carriers will offer agents trips as well. Some of them, if they are a carrier that offers the ancillary benefits, will factor in that production into that type of additional compensation as well through the other categories that we have. When we think of the different marketing possibilities that we have for these different programs, let's look at some of the things that we have here at Premier that can help you. There are a number of different categories that come into play. We talked yesterday in a presentation about the different marketing support programs, and we'll include the link to that presentation because it goes further in depth to these lead programs than what we'll just cover briefly here today. A contact list gives you an opportunity to utilize your relationship with Ma Bell and smile and dial. You can do that for certain carriers. You can do that for certain categories. You can't do it for everybody. You can cold call for MedSup. Can't cold call for Medicare Advantage or prescription drug programs. However, the list that we have available to you can be also targeted for different segments of the market you're pursuing. So you could use it for demand products like dental, final expense, or the base coverages for Medicare supplement programs. And as we mentioned earlier, that turning 65 market is huge, over 10,000 per day. However, there's a lot of people chasing it. So one of the things that we would ask you to consider is obviously take into account the turning 65 population, either from your book of business with other product or through a marketing campaign targeting that demographic, but also look to other age factors that may allow you to access a population that's not pursued as heavily and gives you an opportunity to offer a Medicare supplement review or a review of their overall Medicare package simply by targeting someone a little older. A 67-year-old who picked a Medicare supplement program as they turn 65, well, that Medicare supplement program may not be their best choice now, premium-wise, moving forward. Offering that review can make a big difference. And if you're a person that does do a full package of benefits, it is a good option for you to chase the 70-year-old market, because those folks, if you're pursuing the Medicare supplement world, which Aetna has a great product with MedSups, a ton of other carriers do as well, it gives us an opportunity to chase a higher income individual with an opportunity of taking care of the required minimum distribution they have in their qualified retirement accounts. President Trump signed an executive order that's examining the age that may be triggered in the future, but it's not in play yet. Right now we go with what we know, and we know that happens at the age of 70 and a half. So pinpointing certain segments of the population on a call campaign can be very successful for you to do what we need to do. We do offer direct mail support to help subsidize the cost of direct mail for you as well, with production through our organization. And we even have a program that can help you set your social media efforts on autopilot through Coverage Made Easy. This is a presentation that is recorded and available in that fashion as well, and we'll include that in our follow-up if that is something that might be of interest to you. There is, of course, the opportunity we have to enjoy the fruits of our past efforts, our book of business. Reviewing their current coverages not only helps drive up our persistency, it may create an opportunity for additional sales as well. And some of that can be done telephonically, because many of these ancillary benefits have an opportunity for us to do electronic or telephonic applications, and that gives us an opportunity to touch our folks, drive up our persistency, and perhaps even layer in additional coverages for them based on their needs, discovered through the conversations we have with them on at least an annual basis. It helps drive up our persistency across the board, and we can realize additional financial income by taking care of the folks we've already visited with. We do offer also additional training programs for different sorts of grassroots marketing, other campaigns to help get you in front of influencers within the community and additional people to sell across the board with your product portfolio. If you've discovered the need for additional, let's say, dental programs or hospital indemnity programs, we do offer the opportunity to do contracting electronically, where you can go into the Assurance Pay program linked on our website, create an agent profile, and then select additional carriers and autofill those contracts electronically to really speed up the process and aid in that nice little procedure you have to go into in order to be contracted with different carriers. We do offer discounted E&O through our organization as well. This is a very reasonable premium, and it covers all your programs, not just the ones that are through our organization. So as a true independent agent, this gives you the opportunity to make certain that you are covered across the board, no matter where the contract is. We also offer discounted CE bundles to help you keep your licenses. And it's all part of an overall process to help you look into an opportunity of adding to your current market program to introduce additional revenue streams and help drive your persistency. You are the individual that determines what is a necessary part of your overall marketing program. As you do so and contract and make certain that you have the product to offer in these types of cross-marketing programs, it's then just a question of the round to it. Have you got one in your pocket? Are you getting around to it? Are you going to commit to actively market and follow through? So if you think of the overall package of today's presentation, think of the fact that if you go back to a quote engine or a software package available with the different carriers with whom you contract, and we used Aetna as an illustration, you show a Medicare Advantage program with a, let's say next year in 2019, there's one in the North Texas market with a $104 give back. You have $104 that found premium money that you can use to add on additional coverages for that individual, be it a hospital indemnity program to help with those daily hospital copays, a critical illness program to help with a person who's facing cancer or dealing with a heart attack or stroke, which drives them into the hospital to help drive up that cost as well. And then, of course, the ever popular and ever needed additional dental coverage to handle that need for our folks as well. I'm certain many of you are thinking, well, you know, I've been in a household and the person pulls out their dentures and says, here's my dental. Well, sometimes you can break a plate. So you have an opportunity then to sell additional products that you're compensated for at point of sale, at point of effectiveness in that program when it's initiated. And it's all part of the benefit of thinking ahead and working with an organization such as ours that can help you plan for that business and earn it with you. This is contact information for our folks here in the Dallas office, additional information for folks in our home office. You can reach any of the marketers with Premier Marketing through 1-800-365-8208. Dial that number and ask for your marketer. If you don't have a marketer with our organization, ask for me or someone within our office. We'll be happy to help you as well. We just want to make certain that you have the opportunity to fully cover your prospects and your clients and earn as much as possible in as timely a fashion as possible by utilizing cross-selling and products that are available to you. I want to thank you for your participation on today's webinar. For those of you who have placed questions in the queue, those will be followed up by your marketer, who is going to trail the electronic email that we send out with the follow-up for you and make certain that you have those questions answered. I thank you again for the investment of your time. We look forward to visiting with you in the very near future. And in the meantime, we wish you good selling. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.